Revelation 2287. From the 2nd of April 1942. Divine spark of love. Right and wrong love. The divine spark in the human being is love. God has placed love in every human heart and has now given him a task on earth. To let this divine spark of love flare up into a bright flame which then consumes everything around it. Thus love is inherent in all people, yet the things this love turns to are left up to the human being, that is, the human will determines the goal of his desires, thus the object of his love. Spiritual desire and earthly desires characterize right love, that is love that is pleasing to God, and wrong love. For love is desire for union. If something is brought close to a person and he seeks to possess it, then love has already been kindled in him. And both will be brought to him so that the human being can decide. Earthly goods and temptations of the world will be offered to him, but spiritual goods will also be made available to him, so that love in the human being can now decide which object it will take as its goal. And love also grows accordingly. Consequently, the desire for unity gives earthly life its content in the first place, for the human being now strives for spiritual or earthly possessions, depending on his strong faith and desire for God. Love will therefore be the impulse for all actions and thoughts. Worldly love is equal to unkindness, for worldly love excludes love for God. Worldly love only strives for its own possessions and never turns towards its neighbor. Self-love, however, is the opposite of neighborly love, thus this love expresses itself in unkindness towards one's fellow human being. For every human being will love himself, although his thinking and acting towards his fellow human being must be called unloving. Initially two desires will fight in the human being, and then it is important which desire in himself the human being gives into. If the love for the good is predominant in him, then he will soon overcome the desires for the world, for the good has its origin in God. Consequently the human being strives towards God and thus his love turns towards him. And this love expresses itself in love for his neighbor, and it will flare up into a bright odor flame. But perverse love will have transient goods as its goal, therefore it will also be inconstant, it will always discover new things it desires, and this perverse love will turn people away from God and lead them to his adversary. Then the divine spark in the human being's soul will not be nourished but rather suffocated in impure urges. Pure love will be replaced by a desire which is likewise regarded as love, yet with the difference that its goal is not God but his adversary, thus one can speak of a perverse love. But this perverse love is now the characteristic of the spiritual law of humanity. For anyone who has God as his goal, that is, who seeks to unite with him, loves God and is close to him, thus spiritually more mature, than those who are distant from God due to their perverse love for the world. For spiritual maturity can only be achieved by uniting with God, and anyone who strives for this has the right love. He has ignited the divine spark of love within himself and seeks to shape himself into love. Amen.